Hi everyone, it's Miss Freeman. I'm just coming on here to give you the rundown of the directions for the found poetry assignment. If you were absent or if you just need a little bit more clarification with the directions, this video is for you. So I'm glad you found it. It should be right on Schoology for you to view. So if you're with me, I should be screen sharing. Hopefully it's working. I'm on Mrs. Schultz's account on Schoology, because for some reason as a student, I don't have access to Google Drive. Long story short, I'm just going to run you through the directions and give you a couple of examples that we have written, Mrs. Schultz and I have written, and then remind you of the most important piece of all, which is the reflection piece that comes with this assignment. So if you're with me, I'm in Schoology. I'll show you where in particular. So I am right under the 2-page question and response help down here, and I'm clicking on Novels in Verse Found Poetry Assignment. Once you do that, it should give you your own personal document. So I'm going to click on Sweet Home High School Found Poetry Friday. Now, we did this assignment a couple of weeks ago on a Friday when Mrs. Schultz was out for the day. Lots of you were out. It's okay. So just get this in when you can, hopefully in the next couple of weeks before my time at Sweet Home is over. But I promise this is a very easy assignment because it has such a creative and unique format to it. So let's jump into this. We've got, what is found poetry? So this is just a quick rundown. Found poetry is poetry crafted through the use of words, phrases, or entire sentences from an outside source or text. In this case, our outside source or text is actually our novels in verse. So you're looking at Long Way Down, you're looking at Other Words for Home, or you're looking at Poet-X. Came to my mind late. All right, so the next portion of this is similar to blackout poetry. Found poetry is when words are already provided for you, and you as the poet can make small changes, such as which words or lines to choose, which punctuation is used, and the spacing or format of the poem. Our examples will show these in just a moment. So when making these changes, you are creating a poem that invites your reader to think of a message, a theme, a character of the original novel in a refreshing way. So you're taking the words of someone else's work, in this case, our novels in verse, but you're creating something that's unique to you and something that you create on your own. So your poem for this assignment must have at least 15 lines, and lines can be, as it says above, they can just be single words, they could be a phrase or a complete sentence, depending on what you pick. And as you begin your found poem, consider what your author's writing style is. So try to channel their writing style depending on which novel in verse you read. It'll vary. But do you want to keep to one side of the page? What kind of font do you want to use? Do you want to use specific and unique formatting, like spreading it out across the page? Completely up to you. So you can also include the use of literary elements. So simile, metaphor, try to find a couple of those in your book. We've worked a lot with that throughout this unit. Poetic devices, and you can work on formatting as well. So if I am in this document here, I've read through the directions with you. Now there are a couple of examples. So if you click on Miss Freeman's example, I talked about The Great Gatsby in my poem. This is because I had done a blackout poetry piece on this once before. So while my poem was inspired by blackout poetry, it was technically a found poem because I printed this out, crossed out all the words I didn't want to use, and then made a story out of the words that were left. So you're doing the same thing, just not crossing the words out in your book because it belongs to the school, and unfortunately you don't have your own copy. So for this particular example, I won't read through the whole thing, but the formatting I feel is pretty unique. So the spacing is interesting. I do a lot of descending lines. So a girl, a girl, a girl is descending, descending, descending here too. And I use spacing at the bottom here with this word secret because it's something I really wanted to emphasize. So this reflection piece talks about myself taking on the voice of Daisy, which I'll get to in just a moment, who she is as a character, why she's miserable, and what she's finding out about her role in her life. So this is my poem and reflection, linked directly in this assignment if you'd like to take a peek at it again. And then Mrs. Schultz's I'll open up very quickly. And she decided to do a universal truth or a universal theme, which was truth in regard to Long Way Down. So these words are directly from Long Way Down. She keeps to the left-hand side of the page, which you can also do. And then her reflection down here, she says, the speaker in my poem is someone coming to terms with the true beauty of life, the beauty of nature that surrounds us, and the beauty of just having the privilege to be alive. The opening stanza suggests that much of our world and society is full of fake beauty and falsehoods, or fool's gold. If we can slow down, quiet the noise around us, and take a deep breath, we will remember that the true beauties in life, we will remember the true beauties in life, the most important things, laughter, nature, our dreams, and the gift of having a chance to experience it all. So in this reflection, she talked about who the speaker of her poem was, why she wrote this poem, and what those messages are that she wants her reader to get out of her poem. So if we go back into this assignment document, there is blank white space here for you to write out your final poem. Please do this digitally if you haven't already. Paper was just for in class, and I don't want to lose track of your paper, so submitting it right on Schoology would be best. And you're encouraged to do the best work in the time that you have. So these next couple weeks, hopefully you can get that submitted. So your goal is to write at least 15 lines of a poem, and then down here is really important. That's the reflection piece I was just reading of Mrs. Schultz's. Who is the speaker of your poem? That's your first question you should answer. Your second question is, who are you talking to? Who is your audience? Are you the poet speaking to the reader, or do you take on the voice of a character speaking to your readers, or another character in the novel? Either way, state who you're speaking to, which is number one, and why you're saying these things. So number two is, what messages do you want your reader to take away from your poem? If you have any other questions, please talk to myself or Mrs. Schultz in class, and you can also email her if you need any help whatsoever. So I hope this video was helpful, and just reach out if you need anything. See you soon.